Hello everyone, welcome to Integration Corner. I hope you are enjoying the videos here. Today, I'm going to introduce you to a new integration platform, Snaplogic. Snaplogic is an iPaaS platform. You might have heard of iPaaS. iPaaS stands for Integration Platform as a Service. So in this video, I'll give you a technical overview of the platform. I'll explain the architecture and the terminologies so that you get familiarized with them. Let's get started. So what is Snaplogic? Snaplogic is a modern multi-tenant cloud-based integration platform that enables you to achieve your integration requirements, whether it's real-time or batch-oriented, in a much faster and modern way. As you can see here, in simple way you can put the capabilities of Snaplogic like this: anything, anywhere, anytime. Anything stands for whatever be your app. It can be a legacy application or a modern app exposing APIs, or your big data ecosystem, or data available in the form of files. Snaplogic has support for it. And anywhere stands for Snaplogic supports integration both on-premise and in the cloud. Then anytime indicates whether it's a batch mode or a streaming requirement or a real-time requirement. Snaplogic supports integrations of all these types. As you can see, Snaplogic supports cloud-to-cloud integrations where the source and destination systems run in the cloud. It supports cloud-to-ground, wherein one of the component is running in the cloud and the other one, it could be a legacy system or an SAP application run on-premise in your data center. Or ground-to-ground, it could be an integration between two of your legacy applications, and then a hybrid mode, again where you have a set of applications running in the cloud and another set running on-premise in your data center. Snaplogic has support for all these different types of integrations. Now let's understand the primary components of Snaplogic. So it has mainly 5 components. Let's start with the designer. This is the developer's area, and this is where the developer will define the integration solution. This is a 100% HTML5 based web application, completely managed in the cloud. The next one is manager. This is the administrator's area. This is where a Snaplogic administrator logs in and manages the pipelines defined. And in addition to that, from manager, an administrator can provision access to a particular user or groups. This is again an application hosted in the cloud and completely managed by the Snaplogic team. Monitor is the third component, and monitor is as the name suggests, it's a monitoring application. Again, this is hosted in the cloud, and from monitor you can actually visualize the performance of your workflows, and whenever there is an error, you can monitor them and debug them and gather enough information to fix them. The next part is a Snaplexes. This is the actual runtime component where your pipelines will run. So there are 2 types of Snaplexes, a Cloudplex and Groundplex. I'll explain the details of these 2 types of Snaplexes in the coming slides. So in short, these are the runtimes where your pipelines will run. And the last one is a snaps, one of the most important one. These are the building blocks. These are units that performs a particular functionality, and then a developer will combine snaps together to form a pipeline. Let's discuss the architecture of Snaplogic. So there are primarily 2 areas. One is the control plane, which is completely running in the cloud, and the other one is a data plane, which is the data processing area. So coming to the control plane, it primarily consists of 3 components. They are the designer, manager, and monitor, which we discussed in the previous slides. In addition to that, there are a few supporting components as well, hardware and software load balancers, and then security mechanisms to control the access to the platform. And then there is a metadata repository which saves the metadata information about your pipelines and their executions, etc. So these are all completely hosted in the cloud, and the control plane is a multi-tenant platform. Now the data plane mainly consists of Snaplexes, which is the execution area, which is where your business data is getting processed. So there are 2 types of Snaplexes. One is a Cloudplex, the other one is a Groundplex. A Cloudplex is completely running in cloud and completely managed by Snaplogic team, and they come pre-installed with the product. When it comes to Groundplex, they run on the customer's data center. It is the responsibility of the customer to install the product for the first time, and then the further upgrades, product upgrades and other patches are managed from the control plane. Now let's get familiarized with some of the terminologies used in the Snaplogic world. The first one is the snaps. So snaps are the building blocks of an integration solution. So they are units that perform a particular function. Now Snappacks will contain a set of snaps to perform multiple actions for a particular component. An example would be a snap pack for MongoDB. So there will be snaps to connect and read data, write data, and maybe perform other actions on that particular component. Now pipelines are the actual integration flows. So our pipeline is created by connecting snaps together. A pipeline actually helps to achieve a particular integration requirement. Next one is patterns. Patterns are predefined pipelines to address certain common integration problems. An example could be, a pattern for a logging framework, a pattern for error handling, etc. Next one is task. Tasks define how a pipeline is actually getting executed. There are different types of tasks. I'll explain the different types of tasks in the coming slides. Now Snaplexes, as I mentioned before, Snaplexes are the actual runtime where the pipelines will get executed. Now comes nodes. Nodes are actually a unit of scalability inside a Snaplex. So a Snaplex consists of, or it is made of, multiple nodes. So you can relate a node to a JVM. So you may have 4 or 5 nodes in a Snaplex. Now let's get into the details of each of these components. So as you can see, snaps are computational units that performs a single data operation, and you can see many different types of snaps here. So basically we have snaps for 3 different categories, either to read data or to write data or to perform an action on the message. So basically you can say processing message. So there's a snap to read data, and then there's for parsing. So you can parse JSON, CSV and XMLs, and then these are actually to perform a particular action on the message. So basically transformation snaps. You can perform join, sort or mapper operations on that. And then snaps for copy, a filter and route. And then again to change the format back to JSON, CSV or XML. And then to write. So these are just sample representations. So as of now, Snaplogic has provided more than 500 plus snaps to achieve integrations with different applications. So it could be an application running on-prem, something like an Oracle database or something, which usually runs on-prem, or SaaS applications like Workday or Jira or AWS components, etc., etc. Now Snappacks are a logical grouping of snaps. So there are 2 types primarily in Snappacks: core snaps, which is open for public, and then premium snaps that has a license to it. So anyone with your organization ID can get an account in Snaplogic. So you can just sign up, and then whatever snaps that you can see, they are the core snaps. So you'll have snaps to perform or to expose services as a SOAP or XML, or if you want to expose a resource as a REST endpoint, you can do that. And then we'll have transformation snaps for performing set of transformations and then applying filters or routers, etc., etc. So these are all part of the core snaps, and it is available for everyone who has a free account as well. Now comes to the premium snaps, which has a license to it. So only licensed customers will have access to these snaps. So Oracle Snappack, Teradata, Workday, Facebook, these are all samples of premium snaps. Next, a pipeline. As I mentioned, pipeline is an integration workflow created by connecting a set of snaps. So if you can see the sample pipeline that I shown here, so this is basically a pipeline to read a file, a JSON file, and then parse it, and then do a sorting on that, and then transform it back to JSON, and then write it to a file. This is as simple as it. The best part of Snaplogic is its intuitiveness. So someone with a basic integration knowledge can easily pick up Snaplogic because the snaps and its usage, it's pretty easy for anyone to pick up and get expertise on that. Next one is a pattern, a reusable templates that can be used to create pipelines. So as I mentioned, auditing and error handling are common requirements. So Snaplogic itself has provided patterns for quite a number of use cases, and you can utilize them if it suits your criteria or your requirement, or you can create patterns and then reuse so that the total development effort and the time taken to develop and roll out your integration solutions will get reduced. So you'll have a much faster delivery. Now comes to the tasks. So pipelines are configured as tasks in order to execute them. So basically there are three types of tasks. There is a triggered task, scheduled task, and ultra task. The best part of triggered task is whatever be the pipeline that you have created, you can convert that pipeline as a REST endpoint. So imagine a use case where you're reading data from a big data ecosystem. Like for example, you're reading data from Hadoop and then writing as a file after doing some transformations to some other system. Normally this goes as a scheduled task. So you pre-configure the job to run at a predefined time. But then the beauty of this is even such jobs can be exposed as a REST endpoint and can be triggered from an external system. So that's triggered task. Now comes the scheduled task or the scheduled job, which is the standard traditional scheduled jobs. You can configure a job to run at a predefined time or at predefined intervals. Now the third type of task in Snaplogic is ultra tasks, which are for the low latency requirement. That's for your request and response scenario. That's for your synchronous communications. So they are always running and they are ready to process the incoming requests. So these are the three types of tasks in Snaplogic. Now comes Snaplexes. These are the runtime environments for the pipeline execution. So as I mentioned before, there are two types of Snaplexes: Cloudplexes, which is running in the cloud and managed by Snaplogic team. If you have a requirement to integrate to SaaS applications, then Cloudplexes is the way to go. Cloudplexes are completely managed and monitored by the Snaplogic team. So as a customer, you don't have to worry much. Your runtime is always ready and managed by Snaplogic. You just need to deploy your pipelines. Now comes the Groundplexes. Because of many regulations and the kind of business that you're into, you might not have the flexibility to run all your workloads in the cloud. So Groundplex is the answer for that. And there's one more reason why you would like to have a Groundplex, because maybe you have a lot of legacy systems in your IT landscape. So you may have or you would like to have a runtime closer to them. So in case of Groundplexes, it is the responsibility of the vendor to manage the Groundplex, because that's a component running on your premise in your data center. But the patching and other kind of upgrades can be done from the control plane of Snaplogic. Nodes are the unit of scalability in a Snaplex. So there can be multiple nodes in a Snaplex. So basically Snaplogic runs as a JVM. So each node is one JVM, and a Snaplex is a group of one or more nodes. And then depending on your load requirements, you can scale your runtime by bringing in more nodes into a Snaplex. Snaplogic can elastically expand and contract the number of nodes based on the data traffic flowing through it. So you can configure a minimum number of nodes that is required to process your workload, and you can define a threshold as well, so that once it exceeds that threshold, it automatically brings in more nodes so that your processing capacity is increased. That was a quick introduction to Snaplogic, the iPaaS platform. I hope you got a high-level idea about the architecture of the platform, the components, and the terminologies used while using the platform. If you have any queries, please use the comment section to let me know about them. I'll be happy to answer you. I'll be posting more content about different integration technologies in this channel. So if you are interested to know more about them, you can subscribe to this channel. And also you can activate the notification button so that it will reach you as a notification. Thank you so much for watching. Keep learning and have a wonderful day.